Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
The Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Vidya Mati, when you are ready, you can start, Mati.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Nadam Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Taturjaya Muriraye Nasta Praeshu Apareshu Nityam Bhagavate Sefaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naisteke. Today we are reading from Canto 5, Chapter 4, the characteristics of Rishadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 1. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, as soon as the Lord was born as the son of Maharaj Nabi, he manifested symptoms of the Supreme Lord, such as marks on the bottoms of his feet, the flag, thunderbolt, etc. This son was equal to everyone and very peaceful. He could control his senses and his mind, and, possessing all opulence, he did not hanker for material enjoyment. Endowed with all these attributes, the son of Maharaj Nabi became more powerful day after day. Due to this, the citizens, learned brahmanas, demigods, and ministers wanted Rishabdeva to be appointed ruler of the earth. Text 2. When the son of Maharaj Nabi became visible, he evinced all good qualities described by the great poets, namely a well-built body with all the symptoms of the Godhead, prowess, strength, beauty, name, fame, influence, and enthusiasm. When the father, Maharaj Nabi, saw all these qualities, he taught his son to be the best of human beings or the supreme being. Therefore, he gave him the name Rishava. Text 3. Indra, the king of heaven, who is very materially opulent, became envious of King Rishadeva. Consequently, he stopped pouring water on the planet known as Bharatavarsha. At that time, the Supreme Lord, Rishadeva, the master of all mystic power, understood King Indra's purpose and smiled a little. Then, by his prowess, through Yoga Maya, his internal potency, he profusely poured water upon his own place, which was known as Ajanaba. Text 4. Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him. My dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yoga Maya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. Text 5. King Nabi understood that his son Rishabdeva was very popular among the citizens and among government officers and ministers. Understanding the popularity of his son, Maharaj Nabi enthroned him as the emperor of the world to give protection to the general populace in terms of the Vedic religious system. To do this, he entrusted him into the hands of learned brahmanas who would guide him in administrating the government. Then Maharaj Nabi and his wife, Meru Devi, went to Bhadarikshārama in the Himalayas mountains, where the king engaged himself very expertly in austerities and penances with great jubilation. In full samadhi, he worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, who is Krishna in his plenary expansion. By doing so, in course of time, Maharaj Nabi was elevated to the spiritual world known as Vaikuntha. Text 6. O Maharaj Parikshit, to glorify Maharaj Nabi, the old sages composed 2 verses. One of them is this: who can attain the perfection of Maharaj Nabi? who can attain his activities. Because of his devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead agreed to become his son. Text 7. The second prayer is, who is a better worshipper of Brahmanas than Maharaj Nabi? Because he worshipped the qualified Brahmanas to their full satisfaction, the Brahmanas, by their Brahmanical prowess, showed Maharaj Nabi the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, in person. Text 8. After Nabi Maharaja departed for Padariksharama, the Supreme Lord Rishadeva understood that his kingdom was his field of activities. He therefore showed himself as an example and taught the duties of a householder by first accepting brahmacharya under the direction of spiritual masters. He also went to live at the spiritual master's place, Gurukula. After his education was finished, he gave gifts, Guru Dakshin, to his spiritual masters and then accepted the life of a householder. He took a wife named Jayanti and begot 100 sons who were as powerful and qualified as he himself. His wife Jayanti has been offered to him by Indra, the king of heaven. Rishadeva and Jayanti perform householder life in an exemplary way, carrying out ritualistic activities ordained by the Shruti and Smriti Sastra. Text 9. Of Rishadeva's 100 sons, the eldest, named Bharata, was a great exalted devotee qualified with the best attributes. In his honor, this planet was known as Bharata Varasha. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vidyamati. Hare Krishna. Himanshu, whenever you're ready, can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Let me offer my praise. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Sundaram Prabhuji, for providing me this opportunity, and thank you, Vindhya Mataji, for reading the verses today. Okay, so we'll start. So I'll give the brief background, what we have heard as of now until now in this chapter. So we have covered 3 chapters until now, and then we are in the 4th chapter. So I'll give it a brief background. In chapter 1, we heard the glory of Priyavarta Maharaj, and how Priyavarta Maharaj left the renunciation and devotional life because of the following the instruction of the Brahmaji and following the instruction of Swambhuva Manu and Narada Muni. He accepted the family life, and then after that family life, he enjoyed his wife for 1,000 years, and then he did a lot of great activities, like, he created the 7 islands, 7 oceans by the rims of his chariot, because he was not happy seeing the, darkness in his kingdom during the night time. He followed his chariot, follow the sun god, and through his chariot, and then he did this inconceivable activity because of the mercy of the Lord. And then we heard about chapter 2 about his elder son, what is elder son Agnidhara. And Agnidhara, who was ruling the Jambudip based on the instruction of his father. And then, but Agnidhara, we has heard, because Agnidhara was attached to the fruitive activity, and then he wanted to attain the Pitraloka, and he was, praying to Brahmaji. And Brahmaji sent one celestial woman, Apsara there. And then they both married, and then later on, they begot sons, nine sons, and then they married to the nine daughter of Meru Devi, and then they ruled the nine island of the Jambudvipa. And then when King Agnidhara died, what happened? Like because he was thinking about his wife, he also attained in the next life heavenly planet. So now in the next chapter, last chapter, what we read, it describe about the activities of the um, elder son of King Agnidhara, who is King Nabhi. And then we saw in the last chapter how King Nabhi has performed severe austerity along with his wife and a lot of great sages. And because his intent was he want to have a son like a lord, correct? And because of that, he performed many sacrificial activity to please the Lord Vishnu. And then finally, Lord Vishnu appeared in the four-handed form, and then Lord present before him, and then he promised him that he will take a birth his son as a king, and the name will be King Rishpadev. So in this chapter 4, today we are going to cover from verse 1 to 9. So I'll give the brief synopsis of this chapter as well. This chapter talk about the basically characteristic of Rishpadev, who is a supreme personality of Godhead, and then his activities will be more glorious, and then his bodily lust, and he was a kind of a beautiful personality of that age, and then people were influenced by him. And then later, King Nabhi handed over the kingdom to him because Rishabha means because his activity is very supreme, because he's full of all six opulences. So Rishabha means also because looking at that, King Nabhi gave him the name as a Rishabha, which means the best and supreme. And then later on, King Nabhi retired, and then he transferred the ruling power to the King Rishabhadev. So this is what it is. And in this chapter later, we'll heard about how Rishabhadev further activity, how he took the brahmachari life, and then family life, household life, and then he got also 100 sons, and then he also give the instruction to them in the end of the chapter. But today we'll cover first 9 verses. So in the first text 1 and text 2 we'll cover together. So in this 2 verses talk about the all the symptoms of the Rishabhadev. How he's becoming the influencer in his kingdom, how he's getting the supreme in his kingdom. So the King Nabhi observed, like as King Rishabhadev was growing. So when he was going to be born, at that time, some poet has, did some prediction. And then those predictions were becoming true when Maharaj Nabhi was witnessing that. So that's why he gave that him name as Rishabha. Rishabha means supreme being. And then he was self-controlled because he was able to control his mind and senses. His bodily symptoms has is in his footprint, the Shankha Padma, Chakra, Gada. Those marks were there in his footprint. So, I mean, with that, we understand, like Prabhupada mentioned in this purport, like in this Kali age, a lot of people are self-proclaimed God. So definitely we should not accept anyone as a personality of Godhead. We need to validate those things based on by observing the symptoms and observing these things like in footprints, the Lord symbols by referring to the Shastra. So and then also these symptom was there in our Mahaprabhu's footprint also. And then our Acharya, previous Acharya, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also had a few symbol in his footprint. So it's not not like only incarnation of God. So our Acharyas who are associate of the Lord, they also have these few symbols, not all of them. And then King Rishpadev was very prominent in his dealing, and he was full of all six opulences. So He has a wealth, strength, knowledge, beauty, renunciation, and fame. He has a feeling of samadarshina. He was not favoring to anyone or not, neglecting others. So because he's full of opulences, and also he was not attached to the material enjoyment, and very extremely powerful. So people started liking him. So all the citizen Brahmanas in his kingdom start liking him because they witness his transcendental qualities, and they want him to be ruler of the earth, his kingdom, the earth, their kingdom. So the lesson from these two verses is one should not, if we'll read the purport also, so one should not rubber stamp the incarnation. One should look for the symptoms based on our bona fide shastras. Text 3 talk about how King Indra become jealous and envious and bewildered with the glorious activities of King Rishabhadev. So in this verse, Bhagwan Shabd was used twice. So in one time, Bhagwan is being called for King Indra, and another time for Rishabhadev. So both Indra and Rishabhadev are described here as Bhagwan because and sometime we have also heard like Narada and Brahmaji are also addressed as a Bhagwan in the Bhagavatam. We have seen that. So Bhagwan means who is full of opulence and extremely powerful, extremely opulent, like Brahma, Shiva, and Indra. But demigods are called Bhagwan because of the respect, correct? Because they are the empowered personalities. And these empowered personality, who empowered them? Supreme Personality of Godhead empowered them. Why Supreme Personality of Godhead empowered them? So that they can take care of the universal material affairs. So, but we need to understand King Rishabhadev is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of God. So he is the original. He is the original Bhagwan. So, and the Prabhupada has mentioned, he's also called Yogeshwara, means full of spiritual potency, who has full of Yog Ishwara, who is full of spiritual potency. So when King Indra become jealous, correct, of and bewildered by the activities and opulences of Rishabhadev. So first we need to understand why a person can be envious to others. If two persons are looking for a same goal and they are materialistic in nature, they want to be competitive too, and they want to attain the same goal, correct? And then in that case, people withdraw their help to others, and then withdraw their help to others. Also, they become envious because they want to attain that and they want other not to attain that particular goal. So when envious people always withdraw their help to other, if suppose two people are, the two kids are studying, and they are trying to be topper of the class, correct? And and one of the student is picking another student from the home to school. But when they are trying in that anticipation of, being topper of the class, that person may stop, picking that person. That's just a material example. But what I'm trying to tell, because they withdraw their help and they're trying to bar their path also. So that is why King Indra become envious and bewildered. He stopped the rain. And then but King Rishabhadev, look at the quality here. The King Rishabhadev, he's a Yogeshwara, correct? As Prabhupada mentioned. So he can't rely on the, rely on the mercy of the Lord, King Indra for the water. And he smiled a little because he understood the purpose of Indra, why he is doing that. And he smiled. And then he supplied the water himself by his internal potency, because he is magnanimous and he want to serve the people. So all the magnanimous people don't have any kind of feeling in return. So like our acharyas in ISKCON, they want to serve the people in general and give the Krishna's name, and they don't want anything in return. Our pure devotees in ISKCON, they are non-envious, and they are always look everyone equally. In the Bhagavatam, first chapter, first canto, first chapter, first verse, and there is a Lord is called as Abhigna and Swarat, correct? So Swarat means, Abhigna means fully cognizant, Swarat means fully independent. So here, Lord Rishabhadev, or King Rishabhadev, proved himself that he is fully independent. He is not dependent on the King Indra for rain. So, and then, so Prabhupada explained in this verse, like how when we do the yagna, based on that, cloud of the water manifests in the sky, and then Prabhupada mentioned, and Indra is doing taking care of these material affairs, correct? And in the Kali Yuga, because of the lack of yagna, lack of pure brahmana, we are already seeing the great scarcity of water, and people are now started buying the and selling the water. So what Prabhupada has advised in this verse, from referring to the Bhagavatam shloka, Yagna Sankirtana Praye Yajnati Hi Sumedasha. In the age of Kali, one should chant the name of the Lord by performing the congregational chanting, Sankirtana Yagna. So when we will come together and do the congregational chanting, there will not be any scarcity of the natural resource, and people will be materially happy. Once they are materially happy, they will definitely easily advance spiritually. So, lesson from this verse is we need to always rely on the mercy of Krishna. And how can we rely on the mercy of Krishna? By fully surrender to the lotus feet of Krishna and always think of serving to the Krishna. During the Prabhupada time, I was listening a lecture when he was in Hyderabad. At that time, devotees were very, kind of worried because there was no rain for several months. And when Prabhupada came in Hyderabad, they said, like, Prabhupada, we don't see any rain and here in Hyderabad. So what we should do? So Prabhupada guided him, go to the Sankirtana Yagna. This Prabhupada sent all devotee for Sankirtana Yagna, and then they observed, all devotee observed that soon rain started happening. So what we understand, that Krishna understand the need of all the devotee, all his devotee, and he is more worried about the need of the devotee, and he supplied all the natural resources to the devotee so that devotee can take care of, devotee can always be engaged in his service. Text 4 talk about King Navi, because as he's seeing how Rishabhadev is growing, he was overwhelmed with the transcendental bliss to his son growing according to his desire. And he was very affectionate to him. And he addressed him, oh, my son, my darling, my dear son, all kind of these things. Even though we know, like, King Nabhi was aware of that his son is none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to the Yogamaya, Lord internal energy, he forget everything. And then if he won't forget, Prabhupada is mentioning, if one won't forget about that, then how he can enjoy the transcendental rasa of Vasali rasa, transcendental Vasali rasa? He will not able to enjoy. Even Lord cannot enjoy the, paternal love. So that's why, and we have seen the same example in case of our Krishna Leela. Like even Mother Yashoda saw the entire universe in the mouth of Krishna, but under the influence of Yogamaya, Mother forget everything. And then she always think, oh, he is my child only. And both are enjoying. Even Mother Yashoda was enjoying the Vatsalya bhav and Vatsalya, and then Krishna is also enjoying the paternal affection. And then in this verse, we say, like, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with a great affection, and he was overwhelmed and joy, and he was joyous and devotion. He was enjoying the transcendental bliss of his son. So text 5 is the important purport to read, because here King Nabi, it's talk about, like, please, devotee, if you get a chance to read this purport. So here it's talk about the King Nabi understood the glory of his son, and after seeing his popularity among the citizen, brahmanas, minister of governments, he enthroned him as an emperor of the world, so that he can provide the protection to his citizen, and he can follow the Vedic systems, Vedic religion system, under the guidance of the bona fide brahmanas, learned brahmana, who will guide him in administrative decisions. So Prabhupada explained very beautifully in this verse that ruler was supposed to govern strictly according to the Vedic principle under the guidance of learned brahmana, who could advise him according to the standard Vedic scripture, like following the Manusmriti, and then similar Shastra, Shruti and Smritis, right? So it is the duty of the king to rule the citizen according to the Vedic principles. And then King Nabhi and Meru Devi, retired from the family life. And they went to Badrika Ashram in the, I think, Himalaya mountain. And they started worshipping the deity of Nar Narayan. The Nar Narayan thing. And then, so we need to understand, like, King Nabhi understood, like, he handed over his kingdom rulership to his son. He did not wait for very old age, because he was not at all attached. If we understand, King Nabhi was a great devotee from the beginning, because that's why he was able to do the sakshatkar of the Lord form. Otherwise, no other person can do the sakshatkar of Lord Supreme Personality of Krishna in the Krishna Leela. Not everyone. Only the devotee of the Lord could see. So King Nabhi is a great devotee. And then he did tapasya. He did rigorous tapasya, and then by doing the austerity penances and worship the Supreme Lord in the Badrika Ashram, Narayan, and he went into the full samadhi. And then later he was absorbed in the Krishna consciousness, and then Maharaj Nabhi attained the success at the end of his life, and he was promoted to the Vaikuntha Loka. So we need to understand, like Prabhupada mentioned in this verse, like in this age of Kali, how different politician was too much attached to their position, their power, because they are their bondage is so much that towards their position, their chair, their fame, that even out of 90, 95 years old, they still want to rule the kingdom. They still want to rule their position, because all these materialistic people do not have any higher goal. If you think about, they don't know about it. What is the purpose of life? That's why their small mindset is talk about, okay, let's enjoy this, enjoy all these opulences to the fullest. And because of the lack of Krishna consciousness, one want to lord it over the material nature. So this is happening. Why this is happening? Because it's happening because of the lack of training, lack of education of Vedic scripture, and also from the qualified Brahmana, because we also have not many qualified Brahmana in this age of Kali. So we need to think about a fresh perspective is always needed to solve any problem in a better way. If we'll take an example, if one person is milking the cow, and if he milked 20 gallon at one stretch, correct? And if he continue milking, then what he will get? He will not get milk anymore. He will get the kick from the cow. So what I'm trying to say, so retirement is necessary, compulsory, and we need to follow, like, all the varna ashram, that brahmachari after grihastha life, we should go for vanaprastha and then sannyasa life. If sannyasa is not possible, at least vanaprastha life. So retirement is compulsory in all kind of material activity. So it's all these politicians also, and different people who are in different power, they need to retire from their material position and leave this material bondage, so that and elevate for the higher purpose. And then Prabhupada talk about the Jivan Mukta, symptoms of Jivan Mukta, correct, from Chandogya Upanishad. Jivan Mukta means one who apply everything for the service of Krishna. That means he is liberated from all different things, like it's mentioned like apahata papa. Apahata papa means liberated from the sinful activity. Vijara means liberated from the old age. Jara means old age, correct? Vimurtya means a person who have the liberated person prepare himself not to take any more material desire, no material desire, and destined to die, which is destined to die. Vishoka means he is steady in the distress and happiness. Apipata means no desire other than the devotional service. Satyakama, only desire to the supreme truth Krishna. There is no other desire. Satya Sankalpa, that means no other material desire, only the desire to attain the true service to the Lord, lotus feet. Sadharma develops qualities like Lord. So this is what Prabhupada discussed. Test 6 and text 7 talk about the different prayers of sages. So text 6, now sage appreciating the Maharaj Nabi. Who can attain such perfection? Who can attain such activity? Because the King Nabi, devotional service to Supreme Lord, become, that's why, Lord become his son. That's how they are appreciating. So in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada mentioned that Lord activity performed for the satisfaction of Lord are pure and do not bond to their material world. But activity performed under the material nature increase bondage. And definitely, if we are go dasa, definitely our bondage will increase day by day, because we are trying to satisfy our own senses. But Maharaj Nabhi lived the Jivan Mukta life. His intent of his life after the retirement to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why he execute all the transcendental activity for the pleasure of the Supreme. Then second prayer in the text 7 talk about who is better worshipper of Brahmana than Maharaj Nabhi. Because Maharaj Nabhi worshipped all the qualified Brahmana, and these Brahmana helped to pray for Supreme Personality of Godhead and showed Maharaj Nabhi the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana in person. And nobody can see the Lord face to face. Even Duryodhana, Lord went to Duryodhana for Sandhi, correct? Lord Krishna went to Duryodhana, but Duryodhana could not understood that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he was not devotee. So Maharaj Nabi was performing the sacrifice ceremony. Brahmana were engaged as a priest, and they were not ordinary Brahmana. They were very powerful, and they could bring Supreme Lord by their prayers, and Nabi was able to see them. So Nabi was a pure devotee anyways. He was pure devotee. That's why he could see. He was able to do the Sakshatkar. He was able to see the 400 form of the Lord. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord has mentioned that he never visible to the foolish. That's why Duryodhana could not see him. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrata mudhoyam nabhi janati loko mam ajam abhyam. So Lord is unborn, infallible, but he cannot be understood he will be covered by his yoga maya to the foolish. He will never reveal to the everyone. So lesson for us that even today, Lord has given access to us so that we can know Lord, we can realize the Lord by associating the devotee, by visiting the dhams, by reading different scriptures, realizing different scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But even though if one is not in the right consciousness, it will not reveal to that person. He will only may take the knowledge, but philosophy knowledge and all those things, but he cannot realize, he cannot live that life. And then Lord will not reveal to that person. Text 8 talk about like as after the retirement Maharaj Nabi, how Lord Rishabha Dev followed brahmachari. He understood his responsibility toward his material affair. First he took up the brahmachari life, and then afterwards he took up the householder life. But as we know, Lord need not to do this, because in Bhagavad Gita, Lord has mentioned Lord duties are to protect the devotee and annihilate the demons, correct? But here, Lord Rishabha Dev has set an example. First, he accepted the brahmachari life. He accepted the spiritual master. And he lived in Gurukul. And he gave Guru Dakshina after completing his studies. And then he accepted the householder life. And then King Indra offered him the wife named Jayanti. And then they begot 100 of sons, and who were as powerful and opulent like a Rishabhadev. So they carried out the householder life with following all the ritualistic activity, and which are obtained following the Shrutis and Smriti Shastra. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport very beautifully that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, in order to preach, one must live a practical life. So here, Lord Rishabhadev is setting an example. Why he is doing all this? Because he's giving a lesson to all of us that how one should live the life. In order to preach, if we are preaching something, but we are not living that life, practical life, So we have a proverb: practice what you preach. If in order to preach, one must live a practical life. We need to practice such life and show the people how to do the things. Right? If we don't do so, there is a Bengali thing like apani achari bhakti shikhaimu sabare. So one cannot teach others unless he behaves the same way himself. And Rishabhadev, with his life example, is setting, and he's teaching to everyone, people in general, how to live life, how to take education from spiritual master, how to give the Guru Dakshina, and how to spend an ideal grasta life by following the scriptures. And then text 9, last text of today, is talking about the glimpse of Bharat Maharaj, who is an exalted devotee. And we have heard story of Bharat Maharaj in many of the lectures, correct? He is the elder son of the Rishabhadev. And because of his honor, the current planet is known as, our India is known as Bharatvarsha, correct? So right now, Prabhupada mentioned Bharatvarsha is limited from Himalaya to Kanyakumari, but before that, the whole Earth planet is a Bharatvarsha. And Prabhupada glorified the Bharatvarsha as a Punya Bhumi, using the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu statement, Bharat Bhumite Haila Manushya Janma Yara Janma Sarthaka Kari Kara Para Upkara. So it's saying one who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of Bharatvarsha should make his life successful and work for the benefit for all the people in general. So in this in this section, basically in this text, it's talk about how Rishabhadev, elder son Bharata Maharaj, how is his qualities, glorification. And then next section of this chapter will talk about about his sons from 9 to 13. We'll hear about more about his son, and then other different activity of Rishabhadev and how he gave the instruction to all his 100 sons. So that's a great education for all of us, great instruction for all of us when we'll come at the end of this chapter. I'll pause here. Please forgive me for any mistake. ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.